Never disappointed us. He's always made headlines and he's always done that in great spirit and taken every question for what it is and, of course, hit it for a six. Thank you so much, Dr. Swamy, for joining us again. We're here to talk about the Chinese model, but I want to begin with something that the Vice President said today. He talked about educated illiterates. And it's suddenly, I don't know why, but I thought, we seem to be surrounded by educated illiterates. There's an air of anti-intellectualism in this country right now. Don't you think so?
Yes, because we are unable to agree to disagree. And if you disagree, you are out. And they can take you to any extreme. For example, when I came back after teaching almost a decade at Harvard, I was qualified by all accounts. In fact, I was invited back. And
by no less than Manmohan Singh.
Manmohan Singh was on my side, but Amartya Sen, all these communists, they were against. And it was made clear to me by Mr. Sen himself that unless you accept our paradigm, it will be difficult for us not to oppose your being here. And what happened? I was invited, I landed up there, and they told me, your invitation is cancelled. You can't be a professor at the Delhi School of Economics. I became a professor at Delhi School, from Indian Institute of Technology.
Right.
And I was sacked by on Mrs. Gandhi's orders because I opposed socialism. So that was the climate. We come a long way, but I had to give up my academic career. So that's what it means by illiterates.
But have we just replaced one paradigm with another?
Well, I'm fighting that too.
Yes.
I'm known as a rebel in BJP. And certainly I would not like to see that what we say has to be accepted. And if you have been trained to oppose it, you oppose it, but argue it. And where you lose, you admit. That should be the way. That's the old Hindu system of Shastrat. Adi Shankara had perfected that.
Exactly.
And that's what we need today.
Right. So, when we talk about going back to our civilizational past and taking the best from there, these are the things that we should do. But when you look at the national education policy, it seems wonderful, but it seems such a terrible mishmash of things.
I've not seen it, so I can't comment on it.
That is surprising, given the kind of interest that you have in what the government does.
Yeah, because I know what's in it, and who are the people who came together, who should have come together, didn't come together. So maybe after some time.
So what is occupying you now, Dr. Swamy? There's so many things. When I hear of you, we're talking about Ukraine, we talk about what's happening with Ram Setu, we talk about the takeover of temples by the state and liberating them. There's so many issues that occupy you. We will come, of course, to education, but let us talk a little about these issues right now.
Well, the issues I've been taking have been slow, but I have been succeeding. Ram Mandir, it was I who brought in the new idea that this is not a property dispute.
It's a matter of faith.
Faith. And faith is in the Constitution as a preamble, which means, you just can't get it. And there are sections of the Indian Penal Code which also say where there is faith, even the courts can't do anything about it. So on that, we have got what everybody thought was not possible. And I must say, I must also compliment the Muslim community. They accepted the court verdict. And so we had
I think we should have some applause for that.
Yeah.
It is very rare to have Dr. Swamy actually praise them.
Yeah, I have to first fix the Hindus before I can praise them, Get something done, then I will do it. So I think, same thing on the BJP government taking over temples in Uttarakhand. I opposed it. I went to court. And soon the government chickened out and withdrew the order. And right now, I'm going today, right away after this program, back because tomorrow Supreme Court I have to argue why Ram Setu, which I protected, which was also a BJP DMK joint operation, which I defeated, that they can't touch it. But now I want to make it a national heritage monument. And that I have to fight because Mr. Modi is not agreeing to declare it as a national heritage monument. So I'll win that case. So
Why is it so important for it to be declared a national
then
heritage monument?
nobody can damage it, and its wear and tear can be repaired at government expense.
Right.
It can become a tourist spot for the country.
What is preventing the establishment from
That
acknowledging?
Swami shouldn't get the credit. So if I tomorrow say I'm no more interested in this, I think Mr. Modi will declare it as a national heritage monument
And claim credit?
and claim credit. Of course, he claimed credit even for Ram Mandir without doing anything about it.
So there's that. There's also what's happening in Ukraine. I think everybody, especially the state of Tamil Nadu, is concerned about it because they're the ones who've...
UP.
No, in Ukraine, what's happening in Ukraine.
Ukraine, yeah.
With,
Absolutely.
several dimensions to it. The
Yeah, they're
economic,
also
the
they're,
medical students there.
They're also a rebel.
Yeah.
It's an unarmed, by traditional standards, unarmed country, democratic country. They have elections, and they are freedom of speech, and they were attacked by a superpower with a veto in the Supreme Court, and with the heavy tanks, planes, and so on. I think the whole world should be standing up to oppose it. I'm sorry to say that we are, when the hottest place in hell is reserved for us, for equivocating. There's nothing to equivocate. Just say you can't cross, because in the BRICS, of which we are a member, the Russians are a member, and the Chinese are a member. We have passed a resolution as recently last year when they came to Delhi through, of course, online, and passed a resolution that it is the whole world should regard it as a criminal act if anyone uses armed force to settle disputes. But that's exactly what the Russians have done. So I think the whole country should rise in protest against the fact that we are neutral in the issue of Ukraine.
You've also used a rather unfriendly term for the Prime Minister for his stand on Ukraine.
Of course, I have.
I cannot
didn't say
repeat it here.
Well, you can't. I said when you're in the middle, even at the time of birth, sometimes you're in the middle. So I was referring to that.
Ah, right. But Dr. Swamy, when we hear of you, you're constantly at war with sometimes your own party.
Yes.
I think
very often.
We have seen the
More
IT
often.
cell seems to be quite interested in attacking you on a daily basis. How
Yes.
does it feel to be so solitary?
I don't know. See, the question is, in a democracy, you are only committed to a program. And somebody deviates from the program, if it's your party, you should oppose it. In other countries, they have demonstrated that. For example, Winston Churchill was a minister in the cabinet of, what was the man who made a deal with Hitler? Chamberlain.
Chamberlain.
Yeah. And he opposed it tooth and nail. Of course, he was criticized. How can you do this? Why don't you resign your ministership, etc. But in the end, he was vindicated. And therefore, Chamberlain had to go. In every country, now today, Vice President of Mr. Trump, Mr. Pence, he's taken a stand, he's ostracized, but he's got huge support in the public. So I think if you're a member of the party, it's not military. You can't say that you have to obey the commands. You have an ideology. If this ideology is violated, you have a duty to stand. And that's why we appreciated Chandrasekhar when he stood against Mrs. Gandhi in the emergency. So this concept of discipline for the party, whatever the party does, should they talk inside the party? How can you talk inside the party on a daily basis if policy decisions are taken on a daily basis? So I think it should be encouraging. People should appreciate what I'm doing, that I am at least speaking out. I must say the media has sort of surrendered.
Yes.
And I have,
sorry to
I have the authority of my daughter to tell me that is happening, who's an editor herself.
Yes.
So I think democracy is very precious. We fought it in the emergency for different reasons. But now we have to fight it on the fundamental rights questions. There is a fundamental, of course, fundamental rights are subject to reasonable restrictions. You can't say anything you like. It has to be within a framework of the Constitution. And for that, I think it's very, very important for us to speak frankly. And that is why I go to the extreme to say that no one is a god, no one is unquestionable. So I target that person. So Mr. Modi is getting a hard time from me. He's free to expel me if he wants and face the consequences of that.
What do you think the consequences would be?
Oh, it'll be terrible. I did it to, what I did to Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, I have to put her in jail. I mean, she's gone on bail, but I've done it to others. I won't name them because some of their friends are sitting here, I can see.
So you're a wonderful friend, but a terrible enemy.
Yeah, don't get on my wrong side, yeah. You are okay, you don't have to worry.
No. I'm too unimportant. But let's talk about powerful people. What is your biggest ground of disagreement with the current Prime Minister?
That he's not following our policies. We have said that temples should be freed from government control. Has he freed any one of them? On the contrary, he tried to take over them. 2, we said if anybody touches even an inch of Indian territory, he'll fight. Is he fighting the Chinese? On the contrary, he is saying that they never came, koi aaya nahi. Is it true that koi aaya nahi? They have taken 4,000 square kilometers of our territory. And he is all going to meetings of BRICS with them. So, there's
That's 2.
That's 2. You want more?
At least, it is the Prime Minister after all.
Well, he said that there should be vikas. He's got a terrible economic policy. It will ruin our country. It's only a matter of time before we will collapse if we continue like this. You know what the growth rate has been? From 2016, we have been coming down year by year. And before the corona, we were only 3%, which is worse than Jawaharlal Nehru's period. So, I mean, you want more? Well, I think he has not given heritage status to Ram Setu.
Yeah.
I can go on, it's very long.
But why do you feel that it is important to, what can be done? We have elections, we have a democracy.
Yeah.
And, on the 10th, I wonder how things will go.
Yes.
What is the way forward electorally? How important do you think the UP elections are to know what will happen in 2024?
See, right now the BJP stands for correction of what a trend was bad for the country. When we became independent, we should have insisted on reviving Sanskrit. Now Sanskrit is being revived in the West.
Yeah.
You can go to Google and see St. James School in London. They're teaching it from the age of 6, saying that brain development is best if you recite shlokas of Sanskrit. Artificial intelligence, they say the best language for storing knowledge in computer is Sanskrit. Sanskrit is, words are there in all our Indian languages. Even in Tamil, I think 40% of the words are Sanskrit. Of course, Bengali and Malayalam, it's much more. So this is one. 2, we should have rewritten our history. It's all bogus. Everything about our religion that we're teaching in class today and in the exam is all rubbish, nonsense. I'm ready to have a debate with anybody you want to show that this Aryan Dravidian theory is complete rubbish. It has been dismissed by the genetic test, which is called the DNA test. It's appeared in research journals. But but it's not there in our textbooks. So these are the things that we accepted. We are a country which has fought, and whoever came to conquer us stayed here, but in the end he was dismissed. The Mughals today, you can't even find a single successor of Mughal. Tell me, you can go and find all these Rajas, Maharajas have still successors, whether they are Gwaliors, they may be in new form as ministers or chief ministers. But you can't find a single successor of the Mughals. Why? There's nothing of the British left except the language, that also thanks to the Americans. If the Americans had not taken up English, today we would not be learning English. English is only important for us to learn because the Americans have made it an international language. So instead of defalsifying our history, we have continued to teach this rotten, bogus history. And then in the Gita it says that your varna, that is Brahmin, Kshatriya, this fourfold, is not by birth. It is by what? Yes, Vishwamitra was born in a Kshatriya family, but he became Maharishi. And in this way, you'll find that if you're a Jnani, this is what Lord Krishna says in Gita, if you are a Jnani, Tyagi, and Sahasi, that is, you must be courageous. You must be Jnani, then you must give up all these pleasures of life, which are excess of what you need. And finally, Sahasi, you should be gutsy, like me. Then you are a Brahmin. I don't mind saying I'm a Brahmin, but there's nothing casteist about it.
But you're not exactly a Tyagi.
Huh?
You're not exactly
a Tyagi. I am. I've given up America and come here.
That's right.
So, therefore, if I tell you what I was earning there, you would think it's very indecent what I was earning.
Yeah, but you earned what, a pension of 18 lakh in back.
Yeah, and I'm fighting the IIT.
In back pay.
Back pay.
That's not bad.
With the 8% interest,
Right.
Yeah, you can do it also. I can teach you how to do it.
No, for that I'd have to go to Harvard like you. It's impossible.
So I'm telling you this. This is what you should say. Yeah. What is the scheduled caste? You're not a scheduled caste forever. If your parents are scheduled caste, you need not be. If you are a Jnani, Tyagi and Sahasi, then I will accept Ambedkar as a Brahmin, because he had all the gunas of a Brahmin. So, and our DNA is the same. You take our Indian DNA, it's in so many journals, I can send it to you. We are of the same DNA.
So you disagree that caste is a fundamental reality of our society?
Yeah, caste is, birth-based caste is rubbish.
Right.
Other thing is a division of power. You see, after all, these 4 varnas are all division of power.
It's
nothing more than a division of power.
So there's so many things to attack, there's so many things to review, so many things to reinvent. Where does one start? And you have a national education policy after 30 years, which actually does not address any of these fundamental issues.
No.
So is it too late for us? Should we have done what the Chinese have done? Let's talk a little about what did they do right?
Well, first of all,
in terms of education.
First of all, I think the heading said, Chinese model, can India catch up? I don't want to catch up with them.
Okay.
I want to overtake them.
Right. I think we can, yes. Some applause for that.
There was a time when the Chinese used to come to this country to learn. And a magnificent speech was given by a Chinese poet and scholar and president of Beijing University to Harvard University in 1936, when Harvard was celebrating its tricentennial year. It's all published. You can get it even on Google. His name is Dr. Hu Shi, H-U-S-H-I-H. Shi is pronounced, spelled that way, I don't know why. But anyway, he says, his title is Indianization of China, a case of peaceful borrowing. Wow. That is the speech he gave to Harvard. He describes how Indians had come and the Chinese went crazy about the teachings of their teaching, and peacefully, without firing a single bullet, they converted all of them. Till, of course, the Qing dynasty came with the Mughals, and then, China soon forgot all these things. But he describes for 1,000, at least he says 2,000 years, we were under Indian cultural influence. And from that, we have now come to this. So the issue is, we should be thinking of how to be ahead of China. China is a dictatorship. Under no circumstance they can say anything else but that. So I don't want to be like China. I don't want to catch up on China. There are some people who think that they can do it, but they learn the hard way. This country, just one step back. You know, in the 1977 election, I had gone to America to campaign. So when I heard the elections have been declared, I said, I'm going. So they all told me, no, don't be silly. You will be immediately arrested, and that lady is going to win, hands down. You are a poor country, 70% illiterate, that. And only democracy is only for educated people. But I came back here, and when the election results came out, the most educated part of India is Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, and Andhra. They all voted for Mrs. Gandhi. But the most illiterate part of India, UP, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, they all 100% defeated Mrs. Gandhi, including Mrs. Gandhi herself. Yes. If she hadn't been defeated, I'm not sure she would have handed over party. They defeated her. How do you explain this? The illiterates voted against her, and the literates voted for her despite the emergency. So it shows that you got the wrong kind of education, that you are ready to, so you should be see democracy first and everything else second.
Right.
But you say, no, people are going to trains are going on time, officers are going to offices. This is not a mentality. So therefore, I would say, I don't want India to be like China, where the people have no voice. And if the leaders do a mistake, people must be able to stand up and fight. That's the focus I have got, and I think that rebels should be admired, not rebels who want to break up the country. Yeah? I'm sorry, that's not allowed in the Constitution. Constitution says you have freedom, but subject to reasonable restriction. Yes. Integrity of India is listed there in the Constitution. So therefore, that freedom exercised within the reasonable restrictions should be taught from the childhood. That if you disobey a child, your teacher, if you disagree with your teacher, there's nothing wrong with it as long as you're right.
Yeah.
I disagreed with the world's most famous economist called Paul Samuelson.
Yeah. He
made a mistake in class and he couldn't get the answer. And he was, looking here and there. And of course, all the classmates were all silent. But because I had a mathematical background, I immediately said, no, you got it wrong here. So he took me to his office, and we were joint author in what is today one of the most famous papers in the theory of index numbers. That's the way a teacher is supposed to be. He should encourage his students to ask questions. In our class, if anybody asks a question, teacher said, keep quiet and just learn. Right. So it's all mental rote. That is what I would like to see go.
Yeah.
And that is what I am focused on.
Dr. Swamy, you had once told me that your father thought you were a duffer.
Thought that, yes, I'll be no good, yeah.
Yeah, but how did it happen that a boy, and this is actually something that I find, young people would like to listen to it. What changes in a young man's life that he goes from being considered a duffer or, being considered someone who's not exactly very bright and then does so well in life? What changes?
2 days before his death, my father apologized to me, just put it on record.
I'm glad.
I thought he thought that was to play I was cricket, swimming. I was a champion in...
Where did you go to school, Dr. Swamy?
I went to school, Delhi Public School in Delhi.
Oh, really? Mathura Road or?
Mathura Road. Okay. When it was in tents.
Right. You must have been one of the earliest students.
No, it was, yes, I was part of the founding school, but this originally was called Church High School.
Right.
And we were in that church near Rashtrapati Bhavan,
Okay.
We used to have tents around that. But then after that, but my exams were that's Cambridge, senior Cambridge or something. So I was basically interested in cricket and swimming, and I was a swimming champ also.
Really?
Yeah.
National level?
Yeah, Indian. I broke the Indian record for breaststroke.
Did anyone know this about Dr.
No,
Swamy?
you have to just go
This
back.
is really amazing.
I was Amrit Kaur coaching scholarship.
Oh, really? How much money did you get as a...
Well, I didn't. I resigned very quickly because suddenly something happened when I went to college.
Which college? did you-
Hindu.
Hindu college,
Ah,
okay.
I
So
refused to go to
studying?
St. Stephen. I got my mathematics degree from there. Suddenly something happened and suddenly I became studious.
Okay.
And my father was originally a mathematician, a teacher, then came to Delhi to create the national, what is it called?
Indian Statistical?
No, he created, that was the other guy, Malnubis. A Central Statistical Organization.
Right.
So they were all part of Gandhi's think tanks, you see. So the fact is that he felt that I was he was non-serious. I was, just going to be a sportsman. What future does sportsmen have? So on. So it's okay. But my mother always knew that I will do well.
Right. Mothers know best, of course.
But
And it's Women's Day, so...
yeah, mothers are unconditional.
Yes. And also, so at Hindu, you sort of suddenly developed this passion for...
I became top of the class.
Right.
And I was earning, getting 95% marks. It is unheard of in those days in mathematics. Then I went to the Indian Statistical Institute of Mr. Malnobis.
Yeah.
And proved that all the theories that he has been propounding were wrong. You proved it mathematically. And Harvard was so impressed that without my applying, they invited me, gave me full scholarship.
Oh, okay. So that's
and
how
I
it
got a
happened.
PhD under Simon Kuznets, who was also a Nobel laureate.
So the lesson is that if as a young person, you follow your heart and you follow your passion.
Motivation, yeah.
But you have to work hard.
Of course, there's no such thing. Then no drinking, no chasing women, no all these things. I have a reputation for being. People, they'll call you all kinds of names. Stick in the mud, this and that.
Stick in the mud. What else do they call you?
They
What
used to
they
say,
don't call
they
you
used
now.
to say something you should know. Don't make him angry because then he'll get after you.
That remains true. So I think this is really a big lesson for young people now.
Yeah.
That if you,
for
if you-
education, especially in
Yes.
education.
and don't always agree with your teacher. If
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
enough,
Yeah.
and if you're confident of yourself,
Yes, absolutely. In my college, in Hindu college, I had teachers telling me, don't correct me when I am teaching, because I can ruin your career. This is the exact words
Really?
one teacher used against me. I said, go to hell, what do I care?
I wonder where that poor teacher is now.
I don't know.
So, Dr. Swamy, we've come to almost the end of our discussion here, but is there something that you feel that we can still fix? Let's say in the next 2-3 years.
I will say there are a few things that we should now do. One is
Seriously.
really decide to defeat China in a war. And the ideal opportunity is awaiting you. The whole world will support you. Of course, the Russians don't matter. They're junior partners of China. I won't worry about them. They can perhaps engage themselves in Ukraine and Poland or something like
They're
that.
greater Russia.
Yeah, no, they're greater Russia. They're going to get nothing of that kind. Because the Americans are laying a plan which is going to hurt the Russians very hard later on. But I would say we alone, I don't want anybody's help in this. We alone have got the potential and the human spirit of our soldiers to defeat the Chinese. And we have to defeat them once. Because in 1962, we were not defeated. We were let down by Jawaharlal Nehru. We have had small skirmishes. In 1967, we had one skirmish in Sikkim. Then in 1987, we had it in Sumdu Rongcho Valley in Arunachal. The Chinese never interfered in 1971 on behalf of Pakistan, a Bangladesh issue. Why? They didn't interfere in Kargil. Why? Because they knew that the 62 will evaporate in that. Today, I don't know why they have this confidence we will not intervene. But we must intervene. It's part of nation building that we have a battle with China and defeat them. And that's why I'm pressing the. I'm nothing against Chinese. I've studied China.
Yeah.
I speak Chinese. The Chinese, in fact, all these years, they even went to the extent of opening Kailash Mansarovar because I asked.
Yeah.
Their topmost leader who doesn't meet anybody, Deng Xiaoping, he met me. He spent an hour and a half with me. So therefore, that is the kind of relation. But I told them this is wrong. What you have done is we had a mutually agreed line. Called the line of actual control, which Narasimha Rao had got drawn. And in that, we willingly gave up some territories temporarily, saying that till the dispute is settled by discussion, they crossed that. And they have taken 4,000 square kilometers of that. It's India's, nature as a country. And it will suffer very severely if we do not evacuate the Chinese from there.
On that note, with a last question,
Yes.
your Rajya Sabha term expires next month.
Yeah.
What's your plan?
I've been 6 times to Parliament, 3 times Lok Sabha, 3 times Rajya Sabha. If Modi doesn't send me back to Rajya Sabha, Modi will not be Prime Minister for very long. Let me tell you that on record.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, and Dr. Swamy, thank you as ever for a wonderful and candid conversation.